Hey guys, Skewb here, and today I will be giving a tutorial on how to optimize the beginner's method for Skewb. So if you don't yet know how to solve a Skewb, I have a tutorial on my channel. Now let's get into how you get faster with it. So first off, you need to have a good Skewb. I highly recommend this one, the Moya Magnetic Skewb, which is the best one on the market, I think, in my opinion. But a shank shower or a landline will work fine, but you need to get a Skewb that's not stiff and can turn rather fast, because I will be teaching you how to turn fast in this video. Also, you should be around sub 30 with the beginner's method for Skewb, because otherwise you won't get anything out of this and you'll improve slowly. But if you're around sub 30 or around 30 seconds average, that's when you need to start learning this, because you won't get any faster with beginner's method. So this is still the same method, with a few advanced techniques and a few extra things added to get you faster. So I currently average around 13-14 seconds with Skewb with this method and the beginner's method, so this is proof that you can get sub 15 with beginner's method on Skewb. Now let's really get into it. So before I get into my real points, I hope you understand practice is the key to everything. So of course you can use all these tips, but you need to practice them in order for them to work. Now let's get into it. So first off, one of the biggest things is learning how to do a sledgehammer fast. So in the beginner's method, the algorithm for sledgehammer is L, R prime, R, or L prime, R. But that's very slow. You can go this like the fastest. Except there's a much faster way to do it. Like this. As you see, much faster. So, how exactly do you do that like that? I'll show you now. So, instead of going like this and holding the color you want to do it to on the top, hold it like this, with your hands in this position, thumb on the front, 3 fingers on the top, and go like this. You pull down like that, push with these fingers, pull back up with the thumb, and pull back around like that. It feels a little bit unnatural at first, but eventually you can do it very, very fast. And it's a lot of fun to execute. Now, there's one new algorithm you can learn to optimize the beginner's method, and you'll be using it a little bit, but it will help a lot. It's called the hedge slammer. So there's a sledgehammer, and there's the hedge slammer. It's the opposite of a sledgehammer. Now, it would be like this, R prime, L, R, L, but there's a much faster way to do it. Oops, let me just, there we go, okay. You hold it like this, with 3 fingers on the front face, so you turn the top face all the way to the right, put your thumb like that, 3 fingers like this, and you go like this, so you pull, push with your thumb, pull back with these fingers, and turn around, so like this. It's much harder than the sledgehammer, and trickier to do fast, but eventually you'll get the hang of it. So, that is a sledgehammer and hedge slammer. If you can't do them fast, don't move on yet, because that's one of the keys. Next, we'll talk about color neutrality. So color neutrality is basically being able to solve the Skewb on any color. So, for example, for 3x3, that would mean solving the cross on any color, but for Skewb, that means solving the first layer on any color. So I am color neutral, so for example, in beginner's method, I told you to solve, I was giving an example, I told you to solve an only white first layer, but if you want to get fast, you want to be color neutral. So, for example, looking around right here, white layer is pretty easy. Just go like that. Orient that first, like that. But that's not the easiest method, or that's not the easiest solution. Looking around, blue is very easy. 2 connected pieces matching up. And one right here that you can just flip and put up. And then this one right here. So blue obviously is a much easier center than white was. So that's obviously just one example. So that's why you should become color neutral, and it's quite easy. Just practice a certain center of a certain first layer color each day. Say you only do white, then next day practice the next easiest one, yellow. Then maybe practice red. Then the opposite, that which is orange. Then do blue. Then do green, or some version of that. But color neutrality is quite important because it will basically let you have choice over whether or not each center is easy, and therefore, in the end, let me solve it really quick, leading to much better solves. Because if you see a really crummy center with one color, really crummy solve with one color, then you can switch to another. Now, this does not mean you can't solve on white, because obviously sometimes the best solution will be on white, but this basically means that your default will not be white. It'll be completely neutral, as in color neutrality. Next, we're talking about one of the most advanced things here, something called center orientation skip. So in case you didn't know, center orientation is one of the steps in solving the Skewb. It is basically when you have all the corners solved, and you bring the yellow center up to the top. But since you should be color neutral, that would be the center that is opposite the bottom color to the top. However, there is a way to skip this and save you a lot of time. The way to do this is basically paying attention to the colors or the centers around the corners while doing corner orientation. So, from basic corner orientation, you just have two cases. You have the headlights case, and you also have the case where, let me try to set it up. You also have this case, called the bow tie case, in which you have kind of like this shape. So, as you know, the way to solve bow tie is holding it like this, sledgehammer, and then you're given this. So, generally you just hold it like this, with the headlights facing the right, do a sledgehammer, and that would solve on the corners. But sometimes, I'd say about 50% of the time, you're able to skip that step. This is what I'm about to show you. Let me set it up. So, the way to do this is not just to pay attention to the corners, but the centers around it. Generally, you'll hold it like this. Headlights on the right. If you see that the yellow corner is matching up to the yellow center, like that, with the headlights on the right, simply do a sledgehammer, and you skip center orientation. Just like that. Let me set that up again. So here you see that general case, headlights right here, and then two chameleon eyes, as I call it, facing out. You're holding it the normal way, and you see that the yellow center, or since you're color neutral now, hopefully, the center that you're trying to solve for the top is touching the same color as the corner you're trying to solve color. Like that. As you see, both the yellows are lining up. Obviously, it's not always going to be yellow if you're color neutral. So you solve it normally here, knowing that it's going to skip it, because since it's touching like that. There's also another case for that. Sometimes, if you look right here, it's the same case. It's not the same case for centers, but headlights and chameleon eyes. However, flip it around like this, you see it's the same exact thing, just mirrored. Now the headlights are on the left. This is where the hedge slammer comes into play, the algorithm you learned at the beginning. If you sledgehammer this, as you see, normally, you will not get a center orientation skip. Let me just undo that. However, flip it around like this. Hold the headlights on the left, and now do a hedge slammer, like I said, by holding your thumb right here, fingers right here, like this. And you've got yourself a center orientation skip. So, like I said, it's the same thing as last time, as in headlights on the right, this in the front. However, when you flip it around, it's there. So now, the same exact case with this matching up, except headlights are on the left. This time, you head slammer. And you solved both the corners and the center. Now, of course, this won't happen every time. sometimes you'll get a case where the center is already on top, and you can't solve the center. So this will only occur about 50% of the time, but when it does, it saves you a lot of time. So that is center orientation skip. Next, we're getting into the most advanced thing in beginner's method, something I created myself called prediction. So prediction occurs when doing center orientation. I did just teach you how to skip that, but like I said, it only happens half the time. When it does not happen, you can get a jump start on seeing what do you call it? Like, I guess PLL or the last algorithm that you use to solve it. You'll have a jump start of what case you have. So basically, the way to do this is not to pay attention to this top center, this center, or the back center. In case you didn't know, hedge slammers and sledgehammers only affect these two centers and these two centers. These two centers, the side ones, will get flipped, and these two will get reversed. So this will come to here, this will come to here, this will come to here, and this will come to here. A little bit advanced, but it makes pretty much basic sense if you think of it as these two swap and these two swap. Knowing that, we can always predict the final step. So looking here, we know that we have to hold the center in the back when doing center orientation. Looking on the sides, we see that this one is already solved, and this one is not. But knowing that a sledgehammer swaps these two, but then, and we also know that the algorithm is sledgehammer, flip, sledgehammer. Therefore, they'll get swapped back. Therefore, they'll be in the same position. So, the red will stay here, and this will stay here. Knowing that, you can figure that you'll have to put this side to the bottom, and this side to the top when doing your last step. I'll demonstrate that what I mean. So since I know that these are going to stay the same, because we're doing two sledgehammers, I know that I can put this to the bottom, this to the top. Now we'll do the algorithm. So sledgehammer, sledgehammer. That has solved all the yellow. Flip this to the bottom, like I said, and now I put that to the top, and now you set up for the case. Sledgehammer, sledgehammer. This sounds kind of confusing at first. I know. It was really tough for me when I tried to figure it out, but hopefully it'll make sense soon. Let me set up another case. Okay, so I've set up another case. So here's the center, and we're doing right now center orientation. So like I said, you didn't skip it because it's a 50-50 chance to skip. And as you know, we always hold the center to the back. But instead of just spamming the algorithm, we look to the left and right. So we look to this side, we see that it's opposites. Look to this side, it's also opposites. And as we know that, like I just said, our center orientation algorithm does not flip the sides because you do two sledgehammers. Therefore, we're going to have an opposite swap for the last step because these two are opposites and they're not going to move. Now we can do the algorithm. We solved all the yellow, and as you see, we have an opposite swap, like I predicted. I will be making a more advanced tutorial on prediction in the near future, but hopefully you guys understand it. It's pretty advanced, and I really hope you guys understand it. So, if you guys can basically use all these things in this video, you can definitely get sub 15 on Skewb, because I barely ever practice for Skewb, and I'm sub 15. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you found some information that's useful, and thank you guys for watching. I will see you guys next time.